Chapter 2. How to attain 9 types of devotion. If my Śravaṇa Bhakti, that is devotion through listening, is successful, then the devotee doesn't feel like listening to anything else. No one could emit more radiance than me. Just as at sunrise the sun rays illuminate everything, and the light of the moon and all other stars fade away into oblivion, the same is the state of those who have attained the Siddhi of Śravaṇa Bhakti. This is the psychic power that stops the devotee from listening to anything else besides me. This happens because I illuminate his sense of hearing. It is as though I have incarnated in him. In the same way, when Kīrtana Bhakti is actualized, the devotee is incapable of praising or abusing others. Apart from singing my Kīrtan, his tongue does not speak anything else. He does not expect, nor does he bother about anybody's grace. If one comes across such behavior, then definitely Ganesha has incarnated on his tongue. Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu sits there to enjoy the Kīrtan. Nothing inspires a devotee other than the service of Ganesha. He does not think about anything else. He contemplates on Ganesha all the time, and from time to time, he attentively does his duty of service to Ganesha. He does not think about anything else. He contemplates on Ganesha all the time, and from time to time, he attentively does his duty of service to Ganesha. He doesn't even forget about his service to Ganesha. So, I incarnate in the mental, vital consciousness substance of such a devotee who doesn't forget me even for a moment. He takes shelter at my feet and sits there. He sets aside all laziness and makes efforts only to serve me. All other things are secondary, but he doesn't feel an iota of laziness in doing my service. He knows that the pleasures of the body and all other things are temporary and will be destroyed anyway. My legs alone are relatively permanent. With this firm knowledge, the devotee who makes all efforts to serve me is my Pāda-sevana Bhakta. I incarnate in his body which is devoid of laziness. One who worships me by following the rules ordained in the Shastras and eagerly waits to do service to me without worrying about anything is called Arcana Bhakti. When he becomes my Arcana Bhakt, I incarnate in the body which makes efforts. Next is the Vandana Bhakta. He salutes only those who are venerable, and most certainly for him, there is no one more venerable than me. Therefore, he doesn't adore anyone other than me. I incarnate in such a Vandana Bhakta to enjoy the joy of his adoration. The thought that is foremost in the mind of a devotee is, what is desirable for Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu? That only I should do? In his mind, he does not hold any feeling of being separate. Leaving aside the pride of all other paths, he holds on only to the feeling of being a Ganapatya. Such a devotee is called Dāsya Bhakta. This is similar to one who is filled with a feeling of servitude and behaves only according to the opinion of his Swami. He does not have any opinion of his own. I incarnate in the body of such a Dāsya Bhakta, whose character has become like this. Where a devotee feels that Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu is in my heart, as he has manifested in me, then he knows everything about me. Such a devotee carries this definite knowledge within him as he goes on with his activities. Even to the tiniest extent, he does not go against the desire of Ganesha. He holds a fear in his heart that even if a contrary feeling arises in his mind, Ganesha will know about it immediately because he is the illuminator of my mind, and Lord Chintamani is actually seated there. Maintaining a pure internal being, such a devotee internally and externally sings bhajans of Ganesha. Such a devotee is called Sakhya Bhakta. In his mind and intellect, he holds love only for me. He does not find anyone else as lovable as me. A Sakhya Bhakta does not let go of his devotion, even if it means harm to his body. We often confide secrets to a friend, which we dare not tell even to our parents. Similarly, the best of devotees share the same openness with me. One who maintains this feeling of Sakhya is a Sakhya Bhakta, and I, Ganesh, incarnate in him. In this manner, the devotee who is filled to the brim, internally and externally with devotion to Ganesha, and for whom no other joy exists, is called Ātmanivedana Bhakti. The Atman of such a devotee becomes absorbed into Ganesha. Verily, Ganesha himself completely incarnates in him. Thereafter there is no space for anyone else. Exemplary devotees mentioned in the Puranas. The 9 types of devotion expressed by devotees through their body, speech, mind and feelings are truly my devotees. The verse says, Kshatra matram na sahate chittam madrasa varjitam, meaning they cannot remain even for a moment without devotion to me. Such a state is unbearable for them. He narrates examples of exemplary devotees from the Puranas who demonstrated and lived those 9 types of devotion. There have been several Śravaṇa Bhakta devotees of Ganesha. Every devotee of Ganesha is definitely a Śravaṇa Bhakta, but the one who is primarily absorbed only in that devotion is king among the Śravaṇa Bhaktas. Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu says, the most excellent among the Śravaṇa Bhaktas is the son of Shiva, Kartikeya. Similarly, the best among Kīrtana Bhaktas is Surya. Among Smaraṇa Bhaktas was Dasharath's son Ram. The best among the Pāda-sevana Bhaktas was Parvati. Among Arcana Bhaktas, the most excellent Siddhi achieved was by Gaṇeśa Vishnu of Vaikuntha. Similarly, the most excellent devotee among the Vandana Bhaktas is Shiva. Among the Dāsya Bhaktas, Parashuram is the most excellent. Among the Sakhya Bhaktas, it is Maharaja Brahmadev. And Ātmanivedana Bhakti is best demonstrated by the son of Vyas, Shuka. In this manner, my devotees practice the 9 types of bhakti, but are naturally drawn to one or more of them, which they find particularly special. That is why they are called the best in that kind of bhakti. For example, all devotees follow the worship of Ganesha, as per the rules mentioned in the Shastras. But some find japa more to their liking, while others find that chanting stotras from memory is better. Still others prefer doing circumambulation of the deity, while some do namaskar as a service, and still others do abhisheka, puja, etc. as a natural inclination. Everything happens according to each one's natural disposition. A devotee practices one or more forms of bhakti according to his natural disposition. Among all the devotees, the one who is especially famous is the best of Munis, Shrimudgal Yogendra, who is considered a king among the devotees. I shall presently tell you about him. The best devotees who practice devotion to attain Ganesha have to make effort and remain steady through attention. They may be favorably inclined towards Ganesha devotion, but their minds might still wander to other things. On noticing even the slightest of such movement, they have to consciously bring their mind back and apply to Ganesh Bhakti. But Mudgala's condition was not like that. His mind and intellect had become absorbed only in Ganesh Bhakti. Other than Ganesha, there was no other thoughts in his mind. His siddhi in Bhakti was Kshanmatram na sahate chittam madrasa varjitam. Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu says to Varenya, his mental vital consciousness substance was so filled with bhakti that even for a fraction of a moment he was unable to remain without the thought of Ganesha. So, a devotee who is totally absorbed in his devotion towards me, even though he may be born a Chandal, is dearer to me than a Brahmin, because such a devotee has made me subservient to him by the highest quality of devotion. On the contrary, even though a person may be someone from the highest Brahmin caste, but if he is not my devotee, then I do not find him dear at all. This is because he is wandering in the cycle of birth and death, merely by doing auspicious and inauspicious deeds. What this means is that, besides devotion, nothing else is dear to me. It is true that I am madly in love only with devotion. Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu says, King Varenya, listen. One who does bhajans without bhakti means that he does not even have the slightest love for me, and does the bhajans only to exhibit to the public. Steadfast devotion is filled with joy. My nature is absolute yoga shanti, having the power of knowing. It is for the upliftment of people that I have assumed a form with attributes and a face in the shape of Omkar. Through my bhajans, everyone gets satisfied from the awakened universe till the state of Purna Yoga. That is why the devotee who is totally devoted to me is very dear to me. But if any fake, materially inclined Purusha sings my bhajans and on the pretext of devotion to me tries to hoodwink the people and only nourishes his body to build his reputation, etc., is like a chandal. It is always better to be devoted to one's dharma and maintain oneself. The greatest sorrow a devotee can give me is when it shows devotion to me, but in actual is only nurturing himself. That is why even though he may be a Brahmin by birth, he is like a chandal for me. Excess of anything is like an insult to my worship. On the contrary, even if a person is a chandal by birth, but is steadfast and sincere in his devotion towards me and worships me, I consider him even greater than a Brahmin. He then gives examples of some great devotees. There was a chandal by the name of Nama. Even though he was a great sinner, he worshipped me. He was very devoted to me, and so all his sins got burnt. Not only that, he even developed a trunk on his nose and got a form like myself. He became the best of Munis named Brushundi. I made him the best of Sadgurus, and he was also Sadguru to the 5 Ishwaras. Even Avadhut like Shuka visit him for his darshan. Such is the greatness of my devotees, said Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu. He continued, Shuka Muni practiced devotion to me to the exclusion of all others. In his house, I ate bhakri and rice with great love. I went to Trishur Muni's house and he offered me a durva leaf with such love that it fully satisfied me. Hey Varenya, I do not like those who exhibit false devotion to me. I am hungry for honesty and commitment in love. Such kind of devotion makes me go mad, so much so that everything else appears contemptible. Even Siddhi, Buddhi, Laksha Labh and my administrators, the 5 Ishwaras, do not appear dear to me. I remain the smallest of the small in the house of my devotees. Sometimes I am afraid that the devotee might get scared of me. I had gone to grant a boon to Daksha, but due to fear of Mudgala, I did not grant him the boon. Shami Mandar's father was devoted to me and did a lot of penance, but due to fear of Brushundi, I was unable to take back their curse. At that time, I bore them on my head, and by remaining in their roots, I absorbed both of them into my form. Parashar, the grandson of Vasishtha Muni, worshipped me at the age of 4. I even ate modak made out of mud by him. I had to eat. Gautam had shown great scorn, still I did not eat his rice. Aditi, Parvati and others even punished me, but they all appeared very sweet to me. Ganapatyas of Kali Yuga. Even in the Kali Yuga, there are several Ganapatyas who practiced devotion to Ganesha. I shall tell you a little bit about them in a chronological order. Moria Gosavi of Chinchwad, the great Ganapat Sadhu, who took meditative union while alive, is very famous. Due to his great devotion, Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu was part of their lineage for 7 generations. A great resolute Ganapat named Niranjana Swami lived at Namalgaon. He used to say, where you do not see a trunk, there is no face. During his time, a Shankaracharya came out to that village. He insisted on them to perform the Shaligram Puja. Niranjan Swami went into meditation and got ready to perform the puja. When the puja was done, a trunk manifested on the Shaligram. Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu showed such miracles. When Gosavi's son started singing Ganesh Kīrtans, it is said that Ganesha stood behind him playing the cymbals. Hemad Pant, a Ganesh devotee, worshipped Ganesha during his childhood, and it is said that the Ganesh idol used to actually eat the food offerings made to it during the puja. There was a Ganesh devotee by the name of Sukhanand who lived in Varad district near Nagpur. Due to some reasons, he became a prisoner of the king. But due to his devotion to Ganesha, all his bondage fell off one by one. A Ganesh devotee named Gajanan Das from Gujarat was on his way to Jagannath Puri. There he saw that a trunk had grown on the face of the idol. There was a Ganesha devotee, a lady named Lambodari, who was tired of cooking food necessary for the nourishment of the body, and due to her devotion, she stopped feeling hungry at all. A Ganesh devotee by the name of Paramahams Maurya lived in the Dravid region. He had the darshan of Ganesha daily. There was a Shudra by the name of Ganesh Das in the state of Karnataka. Once when he had gone to the forest, he was suddenly surrounded by thieves who started harassing him. He was doing puja, so could not get up from the puja. The Ganesha in the idol threw a hatchet and killed the thieves. His puja continued to the end and was completed without any disturbance. There was a Moreshwar Goswami in Morgaon. He had no knowledge, but then Maurya gave him a vida, a roll of betel leaves, from his mouth. Goswami ate that and became a very learned man. A Ganesh devotee named Ballar was on a long journey. Being alone, he felt very tired and distressed. That is when Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu came to him in the form of a Brahmin and assisted him as a servant. Prabhu gave a Ganesh devotee named Lambodar Goswami a hollow shell of a coconut, and the devotee got all that he needed merely by commanding the shell to provide it. Several such stories of devotees have been narrated by Sri Yogendra Maharaj. Nobody has any idea of the time period of these happenings. These are just mentioned as narrated by Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu to King Varenya. Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu then says, I have caused the evolution of many devotees who were resolutely devoted to me. The Guru of the Devas, Brahaspati, is a great devotee of mine. In order to honor his words, I even made a hole in my head. Listen to that story. There was a king named Mahesh who was blessed by a Brahaspati that since he had not done namaskar with his head, it would be worshipful to all. Later the king died. He was born as an elephant who was devoted to Shankar. That elephant happened to be killed by Shankara, who took the head of his devotee and placed it in the altar. With the passage of time, in one incarnation, I had to wear that same head. All these things happen because I get carried away with devotion of my devotees. Mudgal was a king among devotees. Love and devotion has become his nature. King Varenya, in the very beginning you had asked who was more dear to me. That is why I have narrated all these stories. Now listen further. However much a person may do spiritual practices to attain psychic powers, happiness or the bliss of Brahmapada, but in the end they have to take the support of their devotion to me, because without it nobody can attain anything completely. He clarifies this in the next sloka. Without the support of my devotion, there is no other means to bring Siddhi easily in its complete form, and in the end the sadhak has to resort to my devotion alone. Shukradya sanakadyascha pura mukta hi bhaktitaha bhaktaiva mamanuprapta naradadya shirayushaha. The crest of the jewel, the Maha-Avadut, Shuka Yogi reached the Sahaja Brahma state of actualization, but still did not achieve fulfillment. Therefore he went to his father Vyasamuni and surrendered to him. Under his father's guidance and observation, he practiced Ganesh Bhakti and then attained complete Siddhi. The instruction of Veda Pāda-sevana about Shanti Yoga, given earlier to Vishnu, was given by Vyasa to Shuka, who got Siddhi by following them. Such experiences have occurred to Dattatreya, Jada Bharata as well. The story of King Janak is significant among the incorporeal Siddhas. He had become very proud of his achievements. That was broken by Ganesha. Later he became a Ganapatya and a yogi. The king of Mithila has been called Janak. So that way there have been many Janakas. This has also been described in the Yoga Vasishta. All of them have acquired psychic powers in the incorporeal body. Sri Krishna had worshipped Pushtipati Ganesha, attained the joys of Goloka, and attained complete prowess. Kapil Muni, who has been decorated as Siddharna Kapilo Muni, with the Ganesh spirit became a devotee of Shri Chintamani, and through the strength of bhakti attained complete Siddhi. A complete yogi is one who has actualized the Siddhi of non-differentiation. Their mark is that they enjoy only to the extent of what they get, due to their body's destiny. That is their state. And no sort of worry remains in their minds, and only they become yogis. Among such yogis, there is no difference between a Chandal or a Brahmin, a householder or a sannyasi. Among the yogis, Shuka was the first yogi. That is why the shloka begins with Shukadaya. It is through the support of Ganesh Bhakti that Sanak and other avduts were able to attain complete siddhi. I destroyed the differences in the intellects of Sanaka and others at the house of Kashi Raja and gave them Ganesh Yoga. Similarly, the story of Narada is also famous. Dattatreya, the son of Atri, performed the japa of my single-lettered mantra and became fully accomplished. Every day Datta used to bathe in the Bhagirathi river, perform Ganesh Puja in the Rakshas Bhavan, and then sit for meditation. This was his schedule. Rakshas Bhavan was a great Ganesh Kshetra, so Daksha Prajapati resolved to meditate there and completed all the spiritual practices and attained psychic powers. Datta used to worship Ganesha at that place. He would go for Bhiksha to Kolhapur Kshetra and sleep at night at Mahur Kshetra. Datta would travel to these 4 places and carry on with the spiritual practice. Spiritual people like Narada and others who live for a long time have all achieved psychic powers by the support of Ganesh Bhakti alone. Narada was made into a Ganesh devotee by Vishnu. By the accomplishment of psychic powers, through worship of Ganesha, he had attained liberation. In this manner, all those sadhaks who desire permanent happiness through liberation are devoted to me. Here, Shuka, Sanaka and Narada are the 3 types of worshippers. Lifetime after lifetime, people follow the path of worship through which they have attained psychic powers to become a Siddha Purush. Later, after becoming worshippers of Ganesha, they become Purna Siddha. They all belong to the Shuka category. The second category of sadhaks who attain liberation are like Sanaka, who due to several reasons got Ganesh Siddhi, and those who live for long lifetimes or forever, like Narada, work for the world. Difference in bhakti of Ishwaras and Ganesha. Here there is a doubt that in the Puranas of Shiva, Vishnu, etc., Shuka and others were devoted to them. These descriptions are mentioned in those Puranas. How is that possible? This was explained by Gaṇaraja Prabhu. These devotees first worshipped Shiva and others as described in those Puranas. The worship did not bring them psychic powers of yoga. It was only after they became devotees of Ganesha that they attained Purna Siddhi. Yoga Siddhi is achieved only through the worship of Ganesha. They understood that, and therefore in the end they all became Ganesha devotees. The 4 types of prowess to be attained are Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Listen to the description of their nature. It is possible to follow one's Dharma through their own actions and get fruits thereof. The Pada of Brahmadeva means attaining Satyaloka. By following your Dharma, one gets Satyaloka. Brahmadeva is the one who desires, and since Yajna Karmas are done for the fulfillment of desires, the benefactor is Brahmadev. So the prowess of Dharma is the attainment of Satyaloka of Brahma. The Lord for attainment of prosperity is Sadashiva. Therefore he is called the Swami of the prowess of wealth. So attainment of Kailash Pada is the limit for the prowess of wealth. Desire is mainly the tendency for enjoyment of bodily pleasures. The husband of Lakshmi, Mahavishnu, is the Lord of the prowess of desire. Attaining that pada is like completion of the prowess of desires. Desireless actions mean giving up all tendencies of the mind and doing actions in an attitude of surrender to Brahma. This is Karma Yoga. This is the path of Shuklagati and leads to the attainment of liberation. The support of Shuklagati is Surya, who is the Swami of the path of liberation. Surya is the Atma in all, who is of the nature of knowledge. He is not affected by any contact with karma. In this manner, all 4 types of prowess have been distributed among the four wielders of Ganesha's power. Here the pada of liberation has been used differently at different places. It is necessary to understand the meaning of the word dharma, artha, kama and moksha and attaining the state of Brahma. A yoga sadhak attains yoga through dharma. Since there is nothing greater than yoga, it is the accomplisher of the prowess of wealth. Fulfillment of the desire of yoga, a sadhak becomes free from Maya's bondage, which is all around. This is true liberation. Therefore, the mukti of Shuka and others is the kind described above. They became free from Jagat Brahma. There is a statement in the Skanda Puran that the four prowess of Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha are separate from Brahma Bhutapada. The completion of the four types of prowess and their union is Brahmanaspata Yoga. Those who live for a long periods of time, like Kalpa to Kalpa, like Narada, have attained me due to their devotion to me. Shuka, Sanaka and others attain mukti when they go beyond the Varnashrama. After giving up their body, Narada and others gain oneness with me as they attain the excellent state of non-differentiation. Even though they may attain the state of Purna Yoga, they continue their devotion to me as long as they have a body. They do not feel happy without doing my bhakti. Similarly, Varenya, all those who had a desire for Ātmanivedana Bhakti could understand the bhakti of Shuka and others. Ato bhaktya mai mano nidehi buddhi me vacha bhaktya yajasva mam rajan stato mameva yasyasi. Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu says, there is nothing more excellent than following my Bhakti Yoga. Hatha Yoga and other methods of tapas and spiritual practices take a long time to attain me. But through the path of Bhakti Yoga, I can easily be brought under control. Whatever a devotee may need, he gets it all without much difficulty. You want enlightened peace, don't you? Enlightened peace is a servant of devotion. Therefore worship me with great devotion and sing my bhajans with a lot of love for me in your heart. Then you will definitely get enlightened peace. Not only that, I will be subservient to you. To accomplish that kind of bhakti, I have manifested with the elephant face for you. Therefore, do the 9 types of bhakti in front of my idol. You shall very easily attain everything along with absolute joy. The secret here is that just as the awakened body is nourished, the whole universe and the Jagat Brahma is also nourished. There is no need to make any separate effort for the nourishment of the dream state. A sadhak following the path of Bhakti Yoga is firmly established in the knowledge that the Atman in all is Gaṇeśa Himself, and therefore he does everything in an attitude of offering. If he does that while maintaining a connection to the fact that the play of the world is a desire of my Atma, Śrī Gaṇarāja Prabhu, then there should be no I, me or mine, or any kind of ego. Being praised or insulted happens according to destiny. Then why be joyful or sad about it? If that Paramatma is the cause and everything is happening accordingly, then it should be allowed to happen. Giving space for joy or grief is like going against the wishes of the Lord Himself. Therefore, we should forbear everything, and that is what I consider bhakti. Then he speaks about the bhakti that accomplishes the supraconscious meditative union. Prior to this, everything happens according to the desire of the Paramatman. But when there is a melting away of that knowing, there is a need for its re-establishment. If at the Paramatman state there is yoga of enlightened peace, then where is the question of Maya's play or the player? Who is the doer and who is the one who gets it done? Whose desire is it? There is nothing of anything that remains. In short, all doership, the one who gets it done, devotee of God, and all other distinctions are restrained. That is, bhajan in the form of supraconscious meditative union. The secret is that even the absence of mind and speech gets completely absorbed. End of chapter 2.